Hello and welcome to our next lesson. In this video, we're going to handle some of the impatience that some of you may be feeling. So you may be at the point you're like, you know what, this is great. I've learned a little bit, but I really need to get going. I need a page. So if you're at that point and you just want to do that, you could go out and get one of the default templates. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and browse to getbootstrap.com, getting started. And instead of download here, we're going to change this to examples. Now there are some templates in place already. There's not really any good way that I've seen to download them. But what you could do is take a look at some of these templates, and I think a lot of people will probably want right away the one that has a carousel. It's pretty common. So let's go ahead and look at that. You can see here it's got the carousel and it's got a whole bunch of other stuff on it. If you scroll down from the bottom to the top, you might be thinking, well, where's the download? Well, I don't see a download button, so the easiest way to get the file will be to just basically rip it and create our own. So let's go ahead and say File, New, and we'll say HTML, and we'll again save this right away. We'll just make it clear and save it right here. We'll just call this carousel. If I could spell .html. So that way it'll look like the carousel that we're looking at. And what we're going to do is right click and select View Page Source. Then I'm just going to Control A and select all, copy, and then Control V to paste it all into here. And I'm going to save that. Now what you can see, the problem with this is, of course, there's going to be a lot of things in here that we don't necessarily have. And we need to do some changes. So we don't have the favorite icon, so we can actually just either take this out, or we could essentially get this. Now if you're wanting to go through and get everything, you could easily do that. You would just basically come here and click on it, and there it is. You could then save the image as, and you'd put it in your assets folder just like everything else. So, or your whatever folder, images here, create a new folder, images, and then what we'll do is we'll save this as favorite icon inside of images, and then of course we have to change this to match ours. So here we're going to say images. So now we have our favorite icon saved. You could go through and do that. Obviously, we already have Bootstrap min CS, so we just need to reference that. And we should already have some of the other things. This is for debugging, they said, so we can go ahead and actually take this out. They, once again, are using the OSS Max CDN, so we're good there. And there is a CSS for carousel. Now, we don't have that, so if we want this to look like theirs, we definitely need to grab that. So let's go out here. And go back to our source, and we'll find the carousel. Click on that. Oops, it's a CSS, it's goofy. Let's just actually right click, save link as, and we'll put that right into our CSS as carousel CSS. Now we've saved that, and we can go ahead and change this to reference CSS carousel. There we go. So we shouldn't have to mess around too much with any of this code, because a lot of this, unless there's images and stuff, which we could worry about later, we don't have images. Obviously, we don't have holder.js, so I'm not really sure that a lot of that's going to work right out of the gates, but that's okay. We could get that or figure that out in a moment. And we just need to make sure that here they're referencing jQuery through Google, which is fine. Let's go ahead and just change this to our local reference. Actually, let's not, because we don't necessarily have that same version. So rather than mess around with that, I'm just going to leave these in place. Our JS for Bootstrap should be there, and they also have a docs.min.js that we'll need. So let's go ahead and grab that off of their page as well. I don't know why, but I'm getting some sort of laggy selection there, so I apologize for that. Let's go back to their page, and very down at the bottom then, we can grab this, and we'll basically just right click and save link as, and we'll put that right into our JS folder, docs.min.js, so that we have the one that they were using. And now what we should be able to do is actually look at our carousel, and we can either go out and look at it in our default folder where we saved carousel, or we could use the preview again, which is just going to load it. Let's look and see how close we are. So it looks like my slider's not working, but it looks like the rest of the page is in place. And of course there may be a few things about this. You can see the sliders moving, but probably I'm missing some images or something, so it's there. You can see that second, first, and third are going. So I'm actually not going to continue with this, because we're going to learn about these things continuing in our course. So this isn't really that important. This gets you started though if you're in a crunch and you need to go out and grab some of their code off of one of these samples and you need to get your page set up and working. Again, you could look at those different examples out there and see what they have available, if any of that will work for you. Now, most likely you're going to want to tweak it, and that's what the benefit of taking this course through completion is going to be, is you'll learn more about each of these components and how we can position them and work with them in more detail. But that will get you started if you need an immediate fix. So there you go, and thank you very much. We'll see you next time.